Today on Inside Her C-Suite, we are speaking to Raelene Clarke and Neliswa Fente from Spring Age, now Spring Age by Deloitte. Raelene, you went from Spring Age to Spring Age at Deloitte.
Yeah.
How has the journey been?
You know what? It's been amazing. It's kind of surreal actually, because starting a business is just taking an idea that you feel passionate about and just getting it going. And then it's quite something for an organization like a Deloitte to say, hey, this is a very good idea and we want you to join us. So it's been unreal. It's been a year into it and still feels very new and novel and exciting. Yeah.
Sure.
Well, close to, not
Close
exactly,
to,
but close to, yeah.
Wow. And what have been your biggest challenges on this journey?
Starting Spring Age, I think there've been a couple, and it's so beautiful to start a company with a partner, because the challenges don't feel like huge challenges. They just feel like, how are we going to get through this? And you've got somebody to liaise with and kind of bounce off ideas. So there haven't been, I can't think of challenges that have really been hard. But things like, how do we grow? How do we grow this business? It's very easy to kind of start it to a point, and then you get comfortable in that space. So I think both Neliswa and myself have been grappling around, how do we expand? How do we do it in a clever and very safe way as well? Because, forget what people think, being an entrepreneur is not always, you don't have to be too risky and you don't have to risk everything. So safety and precaution and cleverness around growth has been something that I guess we struggled with. And hence the step in being acquired by a Deloitte, because now it really does give us a space to be explosive and grow.
And your biggest highlights? What have been your fun moments?
Oh my gosh, there's been so many. I promise you, from getting our first deal, to getting our first big deal, to, being offered to be bought by Deloitte, to, I can't think offhand, some of the, it's been such a beautiful journey of every single step we took, we kind of were surprised about how much people received it. So we'd go into a client meeting and we'd think this is a long shot, and we'd walk into that meeting and go, whatever. We'd always pray before going to pitch for something, for example, and we'd go in there and then they'd love it. And it's a small celebration we'd have. So we'd have like these mini celebrations, mini highlights throughout it. Some of the publicity we've gotten, some of the biggest highlights have also been what people and our springers, so we have a community of young people that we work with, that we highlight, that we innovate with, and what they have to say about us on articles, or that's the stuff that matters. And those have been some of our highlights. Having our parents at the launch of our organization was one of the biggest highlights, because frankly, if you ask them today what we do, I don't think they'll still know what we do. They just know we're doing well. So, just watching our moms and our dads just being there for us, and watching the CEO of Deloitte welcoming us in, and them watching that and going, what have our kids done? And we've always said we're doing it for them. We're doing it for our parents. We're doing it for the young people at home. I'm from Mthatha in the Eastern Cape. Neliswa is from Alex. We've always made sure that when we've built some capacity and we've got some money or something, we do stuff in our home areas. So we've been Alex every December. We'd been Kunu in the village where I come from every July. And those were highlights of our business. And we'd like watch ourselves and say, this is why we're doing this. So I can't tell you offhand the biggest highlights, but it's those moments of just realness and love and authenticity that when they come together, and it's because we started Spring Age.
What was it like when you got that call from Deloitte and they said they wanted to talk to you? What was that like? You know what?
A lot of entrepreneurs think maybe it's just like a bang and it happens. It actually is a journey that we walk. And I think we walked the journey with Deloitte for about a year before we actually signed on the dotted line. So it was coming and coming and coming, and the conversation kind of evolved from let's do something as a joint venture, to let's partner, to eventually, I remember I was actually on maternity leave with my first baby at the time. We went to a coffee shop. We said, listen, Deloitte, you have to meet us at one of our favorite coffee shops. We didn't feel the pressure to need to come into one of their boardrooms, but we said, come to a coffee shop. So we were in our setting when they actually told us, or they asked and said, listen, would you guys be interested in us acquiring you? So it was like, whoa, it was like, it was like couldn't believe it, but we kept calm, we kept cool, we pretended like, you know, we expected this. Meantime, we're like fist punching, air punching in our hearts and our stomachs, and I guess it was really humbling. It was humbling. It was. And at the time, we didn't fully understand what it actually meant, because we've actually never had a business that we sold before. So it has taken time for us to evolve and really, and still sometimes we pinch ourselves and say, Deloitte, the biggest leadership organization in the world, has bought Spring Age. So we're still feeling it, and we're still trying to figure out what those feelings feel like.
What would you tell a younger Raelene starting in this journey?
I think the thing that made this journey most powerful was, of course, going with the passion. And, you know, we hear it all the time. Go where your passion is and the money will follow. Once the hardest part of it is actually figuring out what it is. And nobody told us that the hardest is actually figuring out what it is you want to do. And in any business, once you've got the business idea, you know what pieces to put together, or you can get the help. But take the time to really dig deep and try and figure out what it is that you do want to spend 20 hours of your day doing and thinking about, and take the time to do that part, and don't just like rush into the next big opportunity, because if you dig deep enough, you will find the energy, you'll find the fire, and then the opportunity thereafter you can grow, and you can learn to be a business person, you can learn to be an entrepreneur, you can learn the numbers, you can learn how to manage people. All of those are skills that you can learn, but you can't learn how to reignite a passion.
And now we have Spring Age co-founder, Raelene Clarke's partner, Neliswa Fente.
Yes.
Nelly, I'm going to ask you the same thing. Spring Age to Spring Age at Deloitte. How has that been like?
Oh my gosh. I think it's been a dream come true. Having gone through the phase of just thinking of an idea, you know, thinking of an idea and thinking of something that you're really passionate about, and to it being acquired by this big organization that's a multinational organization. So it's kind of been surreal at times, but also kind of like, yeah, this is kind of what we were building from the beginning. It was something that was always bigger than us. It was always going to be something that would be for young people in our country. So I think, yeah, so it's been surreal, but at the same time, it hasn't felt too different, you know, than something that we wouldn't do. So that's been fantastic. It's sometimes people remind you and they're like, hey, you know, you guys sold your business to Deloitte, and you're like, oh yeah, actually we did, you know. So so it's been really cool like that. And I think doing it with Raelene has just been amazing because we know each other from when we were 15 at school. So to come into this journey halfway through, like we're now 30 and we've known each other for half our lives.
Half your life.
But knowing that you've done something so incredible with something that with someone that you respect and someone that you love has just made the journey so much better for us. Yeah.
You guys met when you were 15.
Yes.
In high school.
Yes.
And now you are partners in business.
Yes.
I mean, how has it been like to be in business with someone so close to you?
Yeah.
How has that impacted on your relationship?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because that's one of the questions that people used to always ask us, to say, how are you guys still friends and you are in business together? But I think what's been really amazing with Ray and I is that from the onset, we've known that we are so different, okay? So Raelene thinks about the future and she's like 10 years ahead from where we are, okay? And I will do this people stuff here, right? That these are the things that I'm very good at. And we've known what our strengths were from the beginning. And we didn't try and compete with each other in different spaces. We knew that, Ray, you know what, we need to do this, you go for it. Nelly, you know what, you do this. So I think that has just made it so amazing for us that we have known that here's your lane, but at the same time we know that our values in terms of wanting to do something that's going to make a difference in people's life, in young people's lives in our country, that's something that we had in common. So you have to have some commonality between the two of you, but knowing who's good at what and let each person go with what they're good at. So I think we've created that space for us. We've learned so many people would say, yeah, I went to business with my friend and yeah, it didn't work out. We respect each other. We respect each other and we trust each other, and we've always known that everything that we wanted to do was for the benefit of Spring Age. So if Raelene would ever make a decision without me, I would know that her intention intentions are always for Spring Age. She always had Spring Age at heart. So yeah, those are some of the things that have made it really, really work for us. And it's been amazing. It's been fun.
Your highlights?
With Spring Age?
With Spring Age.
Okay, so wow, I think I will agree with Raelene to say the first time you actually get to sell a service to a client has been one of our highlights, because you spend so much time trying to figure out what this thing is. What is this thing that we're trying to create? What is this idea that we're trying? But for the first time, when you have someone who's saying, I'm willing to buy those services, I think that's every entrepreneur's dream, right? When you're an entrepreneur, you're building something that's going to be either a service or a product to somebody else. And the moment that you're able to do that makes it really exciting, really like, oh my God, okay, we're onto something here. So I think that was one of our biggest highlights. I think the highlight of us being able to come to a Deloitte now and build something new in addition to what we normally did. So now that we're at Deloitte, we've created this millennial advisory board saying our thing is still working with young people and respecting young people's ideas, respecting young people's thoughts. So saying, okay, Deloitte, could we create a millennial advisory board for a Deloitte? I think being able to do that has also been a highlight, to say, you know what, we don't stop. Now that we're here at Deloitte, we still keep going because we still have ourselves, we still have our ideas. I think this has been a highlight as well.
And what would you say to a young woman that is starting out or that is finding themselves in the middle of a tough time in business and they don't know if they should continue or not? What would you say to that young girl, to that young woman out there?
I would say to that young person to keep going, because I was actually watching a really good talk with Mark Zuckerberg, and he was talking about that ideas don't come out fully formed. And I really believe that, you know, so you start something, it doesn't come out the way that you think it is going to be. So I would advise them to keep going and keep going until they've really figured it out, because it's not going to be this one aha moment that you get, oh, this is my idea and this is what I'm going to do. You have to keep working at it. You need to just keep going. That's what I would advise them. And if they're a young person out there, or a young woman out there, or a woman out there who is just has, you know, an idea, my advice to them would be to get started. You know, just do it. Just start. You don't have to start with a lot. Start with where you are. Start with what you have, and just gradually keep building and keep going, and you'll eventually get there. So that's the advice I'd like to give to people out there.
And that's a wrap from Inside Her C-Suite at Spring Age by Deloitte.